under the bright sunlight of the Pacific Ocean. The most modern tuna fishing boats in Asia, flying the Taiwanese flag, quietly entered the vast sea. They are giant, hunting machines, equipped with advanced technology, radar systems that detect schools of fish from dozens of nautical miles away, and a team of experienced sailors. From the moment of dawn, the atmosphere on deck was bustling, the sound of machinery mixed with the roar of the waves, signaling the beginning of a promising day of fishing. The boat is more than 80 meters long, with a shiny silver-white hull, operated by a team of more than 30 people. They are strong men, living at sea for months, with the sole goal to hunt down and catch hundreds of tons of rare yellowfin and bluefin tuna. In the control room, the captain attentively watches the radar screen and satellite positioning. A signal had just appeared. A giant school of tuna was moving at a depth of 40 meters, only about 5 nautical miles from the ship. After the net was tightened with a giant hydraulic cable system, the fish recovery process began. Automatic cranes, scoop nets, and modern vacuum pumps were operated continuously. The scene of giant tuna, weighing up to hundreds of kilograms each, being lifted up in batches, hitting the deck hard, red blood splashing out, and the sound of the fish thrashing strongly created a scene that was both terrifying and spectacular. Bluefin tuna, a fish known as sea gold because of its high commercial value, competed to rise from the deep sea, shining silver under the harsh sunlight. On deck, the sailors worked tirelessly. Some used iron hooks to pull the fish, some operated cranes, some sorted them by size. Everything happened like a perfect machine. The sound of the engine, the sailors' shouts, the sound of the waves, the sound of fish falling into the cold storage combined into a strange symphony in the middle of the ocean. By noon, the ship had collected more than 120 tons of tuna. The deep freeze tanks at -50 degrees Celsius began to fill up. The fish was sorted and instantly frozen using super freezing technology. Some of the larger, more valuable fish were transferred to separate compartments for special processing. Each fish was given a QR code to trace its origin, and its core temperature was measured to ensure the quality of the meat met export standards to Japan or Europe. These were the high-end sashimi tuna products that high-end restaurants always sought after. Meanwhile, inside the control room, the technical team continued to scan the surrounding sea for the next schools of fish. Underwater acoustic sensor technology helps detect the movements of fish schools within a range of 20 nautical miles. The digital map appeared, marking areas with high fish density, allowing the ship to quickly change fishing locations without spending too much time searching. In the late afternoon, the ship approached another school of tuna, this time even larger than the school in the morning. The whole ship became lively. Under the sunset, the net continued to be cast, tightly encircling thousands of panicked tuna. The work continued, pulling the net, scooping fish, sorting, freezing. Sweat soaked the shirts. Hands were calloused, eyes stung by the sun and salty wind. But no one complained, because each time a large catch of fish was caught, each time billions of dong worth of revenue was harvested. A day's work could be equivalent to a month's income on shore. Inside the resting cabin, the air conditioner hummed. The men of the sea fell asleep in a short nap, dreaming of schools of fish of hundreds of tons, of the day of returning to port in triumphant joy. Out at sea, the starry sky stretches out, and other fishing boats continue their journey, a world of courage, sweat and blood, in exchange for the huge tuna catch that serves the world. By the second day, the ship had harvested nearly 300 tons of tuna, an impressive figure even for the oldest captain on board. Satellite signals were sent back to the parent company in Taipei, reporting the yield and quality of the cargo. A large refrigerated vessel was on its way to pick up the fish and transport them back to the mainland, allowing the mother ship to continue fishing without having to return to port. The model of catching, transferring, refueling right at sea ensures uninterrupted operations. Ensuring maximum efficiency. The ship is equipped with an environmental monitoring system, ensuring that the marine ecosystem is not damaged. Individuals not on the catch list will be released back to the sea. Aquaculture engineers on board continuously collect samples, analyze data, and support the captain's decisions to balance profit and ecological responsibility. As each day passes, the number of fish in the hold increases. The sailors' faces become more tired, but their eyes still burn with fire. For them, each successful net haul is a feat. They are not just fishermen, they are sea warriors, modern-day hunters, contributing to the livelihood of millions of people. The story of Taiwan's modern tuna boats is part of a larger picture of the Asian fishing industry, where technology, intelligence and human power combine to reach far into the ocean. And in the salty night, when the high-pressure lamps sweep across the fish-filled water, we see the images of the silent heroes, the people who have created miracles from the wind and waves. On the third morning, after a sleepless night, the strong arms continue to work on the deck. Eyes are red from staying up all night. But no one rests. Fish continue to be brought up in batches, like waterfalls, shaking the entire hull of the boat. The air is filled with the strong smell of fresh fish mixed with the salty sea air. Oil and sweat, the smell of the ocean, the smell of people who live with the sea. At this time, on the cargo ship that had just docked, an extremely professional transfer process took place. Blocks of frozen tuna were lifted from the mothership to the transport ship by a giant container crane. The giant stainless steel tanks containing the fish were inspected, stamped, sealed, and then taken to a deep freeze at -55°C, a temperature sufficient to preserve the quality of sashimi tuna until it reached the port of Japan or Europe. On the mothership, when the main hold was gradually released, fishing activities immediately resumed. The ship did not need to return to shore but continued to go deep into the fishing grounds of the South Pacific, known as the paradise of ocean tuna. This sea area is vast, rich in nutrients, and has an extremely high density of tuna, a place where ships from Japan, Korea, Indonesia, and especially Taiwan often compete fiercely. Unlike inshore fishing, the journey to sea to catch tuna requires extraordinary endurance. Sailors have to live and work continuously at sea for 60 to 120 days. Some trips even last more than 6 months. They sleep in cramped compartments, eat simple food, have no phone reception, only the sound of the radio and dreams of the day they return. Although it is hard work, every time they cast their nets and catch a few dozen tons of tuna, all their fatigue disappears. A successful trip can bring in millions of dollars in revenue. The story behind each tuna is also the story of a thorough investment. Before the ship sets sail, all preparations are carefully carried out: refueling, food, checking equipment, updating data on fishing grounds with high fish density from international organizations. On board, in addition to the crew, there are also oceanographic experts, air conditioning engineers, chefs, and even first aid doctors. This is a complete team to ensure a safe and effective trip. At night, when everyone on land is asleep, the lights on the ship are still as bright as day. This is the ideal time to lure tuna to the ship. The high-power LED system shines directly on the water surface, creating a large area of light that attracts fish from afar. The bait fish is dropped, the Seine net is prepared, and at the right moment, the giant trap closes. The fish cannot escape. The splashing sound, the pulling of the rope, the screams echo throughout the deck. It is the sound of victory. Each tuna brought up is thoroughly inspected. Those weighing between 80 and 150 kilograms are classified as high-end. Each of these can be sold for between $1 and $10 when they reach the mainland. And some can even fetch up to $50 if they meet the A-grade sashimi standards at auctions in Tokyo. That's why these ships never stop, because every minute that passes is an opportunity to earn tens of millions of dong. The scale of organization on Taiwan's modern fishing vessels is also reflected in the electronic management system. Each crew member has a magnetic card to track working hours and rest hours. Each net is recorded by cameras and sensors to evaluate efficiency. Each time a fish is brought up, there is software to record the yield, type of fish, size, and date and time of catch. Data is transmitted by satellite to the parent company, where managers monitor the performance of each vessel in real time. Not only fishing, Taiwanese fishing vessels also participate in marine conservation programs. They cooperate with international organizations to release baby fish back into the sea. Control catch. Do not catch young tuna, and do not use equipment that harms coral reefs or other organisms. On each trip, there is an independent observer to ensure that the fishing process is in accordance with international standards, a necessary condition for exporting fish to demanding markets. After nearly a week of continuous operation, the ship was loaded with more than 600 tons of tuna, a huge number. All the sailors were exhausted, but when they saw the deck tightly closed, the nets neatly folded, the freezer running at full capacity, everyone smiled proudly, because they knew that when the ship docked, the whole company and their whole family would welcome a bumper harvest. On the internal radio, the captain announced the results of the trip. Applause echoed throughout the ship. The journey of fishing with purse seines on the most modern Taiwanese vessels in Asia is not just a story of output and profit. It is also a story of people, of courage, perseverance, skills and steely spirit. They not only face the wind and waves but also fight every day against time, against fatigue, against the temptation of rest, all to bring back treasures from the ocean floor. And when the giant ship slowly entered cozying port, where hundreds of refrigerated containers were waiting, when the tuna weighing tons were hoisted down, when the siren sounded to mark the successful end of the trip, that was the glorious moment of the sea. A moment that only those who have lived and died with the wind and waves can fully understand. In the resting compartment, the men of the sea finally got a deep sleep. There was no longer the sound of waves. No more dragnets or fish pumps echoing, only the steady breathing. The slowing heartbeat after days of tension. Some people called their wives and children after many days without a sound. Others took the opportunity to sip the first cold beer after a long journey. Eyes looking up at the sky, breathing deeply, satisfied. The story of the Taiwanese tuna ship ends when the last cargo boxes are sealed. prepared to be transported by refrigerated container to the airport, then boarded a plane to Tokyo, Seoul, or New York. But the journey of the sailors does not stop there. They will rest for a few days, repair the ship, refuel, and then set sail again. The sea calls them, like a destiny. Because in the vast ocean, where the sun rises from the red horizon, where each wave contains challenges and rewards, these people are not just fishermen, they are true warriors. They represent the most modern fishing industry in Asia, where not only is there superior technology but also a steely spirit. Courage and silent dedication. And then, when the ship once again leaves the port, carrying hope, passion, and the desire to conquer the ocean, the story continues. Each time out to sea is a new journey, an epic song in the middle of the ocean, where tuna is not just prey, but a symbol of glory, of sweat, and of the desire to live amidst the storms.